Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Jeff.
Good morning.
This is Jeff from Awards Radar. First of all, congratulations on the series. I thought it was great, really, really engaging.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Kevin, I thought your performance was fantastic. You worked with some pretty heavy hitters on this one. Can you talk about working with the cast and what you may have learned from them?
Every day was an education. I really love the fact that when you work with names that big, talent that caliber, you get to see how they approach their workday, right? And everybody has a different process, a different road to prep and to personal success in making the material the best that it possibly can be. So seeing how Sam approaches, seeing Dom, seeing Taraji, who I was very active with throughout the series, it was amazing, right? Like you really got to see how much they see outside of the material on page, how much more matters to the world of the performance, and how much they create to make the things that you're doing make more sense. So for me, it was just good to kind of be a fly on the wall, a sponge, and soak things up. And they were never not giving with the information or the reasons to. And also, they were always supportive. And after a take, what was great, what we should try, we all developed a nice yin and yang of possibility on set, which is very refreshing as well.
What's your process like on set? Can you turn it on and off between takes? You saying a character? How do you work?
The answer is yes. I don't want anybody to ever see my process and try to gravitate towards doing that. I'm very much a multitasker, so I'm the guy that's in the scene, and when you say cut on a call and doing things, or I'm behind the camera, or I'm talking to, and I'm figuring out, or like there's always a lot going on. So for me, it's about being able to react and not taking away my opportunities to do that at a very high level, and always doing it within context. But the more fresh the material, the more current, the more I'm able to do with it. So
Sure.
I don't like to overstudy and over engage myself with the page because I become robotic. So it's very much a loose a loose road up until we're actually rolling the cameras on the day of just making sure I know my story, I know my bullet points, I know my world. Now let me operate in the world and see how my partner does it or how she's going to do it. And then it's always having a nice one foot in, one foot out ability to give it to you and you can give it back to me. And it's, I think that's how you get the most out of a scene.
Bryan, I know that Shay Agbana developed the story from the Fight Night podcast, but how did Hartbeat Productions get involved in the project?
Well, it's funny. We've developed great relationships over the years. And one of our dear partners, Will Packer at Will Packer Media, he did the podcast and said, hey, you guys need to listen to this. I think it's a great series here. And I think Will, knowing us so much, he was totally right. So we listened to the podcast and we agreed that it was the kind of story you wanted to bring to life, you wanted to bring to a series. And from that place forward, we put all hands on deck and really helped make this thing reality.
Kevin, what would you say you have? Did you bring anything to the role for Chicken Man that was not necessarily in the page?
Yeah, you have to think and know that you did, right? Like, there's certain versions of my perception of what Chicken Man did at the time that I felt would better provide like more story, more context to some of these relationships and some of the reason why they fell apart or why they coexisted. And I think the biggest thing was the relationship between my household and the relationships that I had created outside of my household. And that was the toughest story because you want the audience to understand why both of these worlds were necessary and so instrumental in how he approached his life and his day to day, and making an audience see that, but at the same time still root for you, still like you. That's a fine line that you're walking. So how we develop that rapport between me and the other actresses was, I think, done very, very well, and it was done through some creative choices that myself, the director, and my counters that we were all aligned with. I would say some Kevinisms were brought to the table in that regard. But for the other part of staying true to the time period, trying to get the cadence, trying to get the dialogue, trying to get all that stuff down and making sure that you're consistent with it, you don't have a lot of wiggle room there. You wanna play less. And the places where you do have an opportunity to maybe play a little bit, making sure it's not excessive to compromise the performance that you were doing on the other side. So it was finding that balance, the correct side of the balance, so that the seesaw never went too high up on one side or too low on the other.
Well, gentlemen, appreciate the time, and congratulations again. It was great. Good luck.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Jeff.
Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.